What's up, guys? AGCrowd Plays here. Welcome back to another live stream, and on today's live stream I'm gonna be continuing reading Master Slayer's story, The Tale of the Red Crystal. I'm on chapter 3, still on the Crystal arc, and yeah, today I'm hoping to finish chapter 3 today, and hopefully, not chapter 3, I'm hoping to finish part 3 of chapter 1 today and reach part 4 today, and then do part 4 on the next live stream. But yeah, guys, before I get started, I need you guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have yourself, guys, a great, fantastic day. But anyways, let's get started reading the story of part 3 for chapter 1. Let's see what part I left off on. I forgot which part. It's been I don't know how many months I have since the last time I did this, but let's try to find the part, and hopefully when I find the part, I'll be all good to go. Don't say anything or I'll kill you myself. Okay, that was the part I stopped on. So yeah, let's read and do this, guys. Don't say anything or I'll kill you myself. Richard's body tensed, his breath caught in his throat. His eyes darted around the room, but no one else seemed to have heard the voice. He clenched his fist, the crystal pulsing in his chest, his presence becoming more overwhelming with every passing second. Never mind, but yeah, this crystal gave me powers, Richard said, careful not to reveal too much, his voice quiet as he glanced around the others. He hesitated, the weight of the situation making it harder to speak, his silence heavy in the air. That is strange. I've never seen powers in real life, only seen them in movies, but what kind of abilities do you have exactly? Caleb was curious. So far, basically superhuman strength, flight, and I'm guessing red energy, like I assume. That's the name of it, cause this crystal did summon a shield to protect me, to use against the bullet, and it allowed the classroom to not see the whole situation. That was smart move, Richard explained. So far, man, the crystal maybe has a lot more abilities than you already know, Caleb replied, but I don't need more. I just need something useful, Richard said slowly, a hint of frustration in his voice. Ever since I got this crystal, I've been trying to learn about it, but it's like I keep hitting a wall, like something's holding me back. He paused, his eyes drifting to the floor, lifting, lost in thought. It wasn't until he looked up again that he spoke more quietly this time, almost to himself. I just want to make a difference. If something's wrong, then there needs to be a person who will protect this town from these mysteries. The ambulance arrived, swiftly taking the deceased student away. Shortly after, the school announced an unexpected break. Students will be off for the next week. Before Richard left, the teacher was heading towards them, concerned. Are you alright, Richard? Did he hurt you? It's crazy what could happen to you. I was very curious on how that bullet bounced. You're lucky to survive that. Teacher Hauser is concerned. Yeah, I'm alright. Even I was shocked. But I'm fine, but I'm glad others are safe as well. I had to understand why he was there. Richard tried explaining. Alright, that's good. We need to be more safe now. We never know who could show up, but hope you stay safe, Richard, and return back soon, Teacher Hauser said, looking at him as he walked away. That was weird. He acted like he didn't even see the shield protecting me, but I saw it myself, Richard muttered, catching his breath, confusion settling in. That's odd. Richard stepped through the door, his mind a storm of emotions, the weight of everything that had happened at school pressed down on him, but none of it compared to the sinking dread tightening in his chest. His fingers trembled slightly as he pulled out his phone. It barely rang once before his sister picked up. Hey, her voice was shaky, strained. What's going on? Richard let out a slow breath, sinking onto the couch. It's a mess. His voice was flat, exhausted. Everything at school went to hell. A fight broke out. People got hurt. He paused, rubbing his temple. It's like everything's spiraling and I can't stop it. There was a silence on the other end. Then he heard it, the quiet, uneven breaths, the sniffles. She was trying to hide. She was crying. Richard didn't react. He didn't know how to. He just sat there staring at nothing. The weight of the day pressing down on him like an anchor. The memories played on repeat in his head. The chaos, the fear in their faces, the helplessness clawing at his gut. It was an echo he couldn't shake. The silence stretched between them, heavy and suffocating. Finally, Richard forced himself to speak. His voice was quiet now, barely above a whisper. How's Mom? A sharp inhale on the other end. Then his sister's voice cracked. She's unconscious. Richard's grip tightened around his phone. The bullet, she hesitated, like saying it out loud, made it worse. It went deep. They're not sure if she's gonna... Her voice broke. completely a choke sob. Richard stared at the floor, his breath slow and controlled, but inside everything was unraveling. This is my fault. His heart pounded in his ears. I should have been there. I should have stopped it. A familiar, cold voice slithered through his mind. You let it happen. The words dripped with venom. This is on you. His fingers dug into his palm, his breath sharp. His sister didn't hear him. I don't know what to do, Richard, she whispered through her tears. What if she doesn't wake up? What if she will? His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. She has to. Another shaky breath from her. I need to go. I just can't. It's okay, Richard said quickly. Take care of yourself. I'll call you later. A long pause, then in a broken whisper, okay. The line went dead. The silence in the room was deafening. The voice coiled around his thoughts like a snake. She got hurt because of you. Richard's breath hitched, his hands balling into his fist. Maybe it was your fault. He snapped, his voice raw with frustration. You're the one pushing me. You and this damn crystal. You made me fight back. You made me snap, and now look what happened. The weight of his own words settled over him, but he wasn't done. His pulse pounded in his ears as the memories of the fight happened. The fight replayed in his head. The moment his fist connected, the instant everything blurred. How he couldn't see. His voice broke as he continued. You made me punch the guy, and after that I blacked out. My mind was a mess. Everything was blurry, and now you expect me to believe I did this? His chest rose and fell sharply as he forced the words through clenched teeth. No, this isn't on me. The voice let out a low taunting chuckle. Denial is such a pathetic thing. Richard's emotions surged, his frustration boiling over. You think I don't know what's happening? You're twisting everything. I didn't want to fight. I was forced into it, but then everything went black. I lost control, and now you want me to believe it was all me? His voice trembled, anger mixing with guilt. No, that's you. You and this crystal pushing, whispering, manipulating. We wanted this, didn't you? The voice remained silent for a moment, then chuckled darkly. You're looking for something to blame. Typical. You lost control because you wanted to. Deep down you liked it. Richard shook his head, his breath sharp. What? No, that's not true. But the words felt weak, almost uncertain, isn't it? Think about how it felt, Richard. The power, the rage. You didn't hesitate. You enjoyed it. His fist clenched tighter. After all, and sooner or later you'll realize I'm not the problem. You are. Richard clenched his fist. Your words don't hurt me. He muttered under his breath. You'll never make me hurt anyone. You can try, but once I fix this crystal, once Govan helps me, he exhaled sharply, his voice colder now. You'll be nothing. The voice chuckled darkly. People won't believe you. They'll think you're crazy. Your plan is useless. Richard let out a bitter laugh, his eyes arding. You know, you actually helped me, he said, sarcasm laced in his voice. Every word you say, it just reminds me of what I need to fix. It makes me think about what I'm gonna do next, so thanks for that. The voice hissed in frustration. Its usual venom laced with something else. Hesitation. You're a fool. Richard smirked, shaking his head. Maybe, but at least I'm not a coward, hiding in the dark, feeding off my pain like a parasite. Silence. Richard took a slow breath, his mind clearing as the weight of the conversation settled in. The voice always tried to break him, to make him doubt himself, but this time it failed for now. The silence stretched on. Richard leaned back, staring at the ceiling, but all he could see was his mother lying in that hospital bed, his sister crying at the weight of everything that had happened crashing down on him, and for the first time in a long time he felt completely alone. Warehouse. Richard stormed into the warehouse, his mind racing from everything that had happened. The weight of the day hung heavy on him. His mom, Globan's warnings, the crystal's unpredictable power. He needed to calm down, regain control, but no matter how much he trained, the restless energy inside him wouldn't settle. He threw a punch at the nearest punching bag, his breath sharp, then another harder. His fists struck like hammers, each blow fueled by frustration. His muscles tense, his vision blurred with anger. The crystal's energy surged through him. With a final roar, he slammed his fist into the bag. With everything he had, the impact sent a shockwave through the warehouse. The chain snapped, the bag tore from its hinges crashing through the wall like a cannonball. Dust and debris filled the air, leaving a gaping hole where solid concrete once stood. Panting, Richard stared at the destruction, his hands trembling, his chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. His power was growing too fast, too unstable. Richard staggered back, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. He stared at the gaping hole, his hands trembling. Damn it, he muttered, clenching his fist. I can't keep losing control like this. His His pulse pounded in his ears, the weight of his own strength passing down on him. He exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "This crystal is changing me," he murmured, his voice low, "and I don't even know if I can stop it." Richard's breath slowed as he stared at the shattered wall, dust still settling around him. His anger faded, replaced by something heavier, uncertainty. He flexed his fingers, feeling the raw power coursing through them. If he wasn't careful, the strength could destroy everything around him. But then a thought struck him: if he could break through the walls without trying, what else could he do? Not just with anger, but with purpose. He looked down at the hands. They weren't just weapons. They could protect. They could save. "I don't have to lose control," he muttered. "I just need to learn how to use it." His jaw tightened with determination. Glovin had warned him, but Glovin also believed in him. The crystal wasn't the problem. It was him, and if he could break through concrete, maybe he could break through his own limits too. Richard ran a hand down his face, his fingers still trembling from the surge of power. The weight of his strength no longer felt like a curse, but it wasn't a gift. He fully understood, yet he exhaled, his gaze drifting back to the shattered wall. If his strength could tear through concrete, he needed something to keep himself in check, something to channel it. His shoulders tensed. He wasn't invincible. The crystal gave him power, but it didn't make him untouchable. He had no armor, no real weight to protect himself from what was coming. His fist clenched. "I can't keep doing this. Blind," he muttered. "I need something to keep me together, to shield me from all this." He exhaled sharply, shaking his head. "I need a suit." His words barely left his lip before a strange sensation filled the air. A faint hum of energy. Richard froze, his eyes darting to the crystal in his pocket. Suddenly it began to glow, casting an eerie light around the room. Richard stepped back, confused but intrigued. The glow intensified, and the crystal seemed to pulse with the life of its own. Then before his eyes, a hologram flickered into existence, a suit suspended in the air. Richard blinked, his heart skipping a beat. "Whoa, what the? Wait a minute. Is this thing listening to me?" Richard muttered. The hologram shimmered, and Richard watched as the suit began to take shape, molded by his thoughts and desires. The thought crossed his mind, something he had imagined countless times in his head. What if he could be like my style? Without thinking, Richard pulled out a drawing from his pocket, the one he had sketched weeks ago, showing the design. He'd always wanted a suit that would give him power, protection, and an intimidating presence. He held it up, his eyes locked on the hologram. "I want it to be like this," he said softly, focusing on the image. The crystal's glow pulsed brighter. Richard's thoughts were almost completely consumed by the vision. A dark gray, sleek matte suit, tech embedded seamlessly into the design, glowing lines of energy pulsing like veins through the fabric, and in an instant the crystal responded. The hologram flickered as the material began to shift and change, molding itself to its exact desires. The surface darkened. The subtle glowing lines coursing like threads of electricity. The suit had come just as he imagined. Richard stood there, stunned, his breath caught in his throat. This is exactly how I imagined it." His voice was full of awe, his fingers trembling as he reached out, brushing against the material of the hologram. As he pressed on the hologram, the suit solidified and enveloped in him, fitting like a second skin. The material was flexible and lightweight, yet he could feel its strength, knowing it could withstand almost anything. It moved with him, adapting to his every motion, allowing him to be fast and agile as he needed. Inside the helmet, a heads-up display flickered to life, showing a range of options. Advanced tech integrated into the suit offered numerous gadgets and features: night vision, thermal imaging, communication system, and an array of weapons that could be summoned at will. The suit even had a cloaking feature, allowing him to blend into any environment, and a built-in AI assistant that could analyze situations and provide tactile advice in real time. Richard grinned, feeling a surge, scanning. "Now this is what I like." Feeling a surge of confidence. "Now this is what I like." Scanning through the suit's capabilities, everything he had ever wanted in a suit was right there, tailored to his specifications. As he looked at himself in the reflection of a nearby window, he knew the suit would give him the edge he needed to protect himself and others. Introduction as a hero. The wind howled past Richard's ears as he rocketed through the sky, his suit humming with energy. This was freedom, weightless, untouchable, soaring over the town with nothing but the stars above and the city lights below. He climbed higher, punching through a layer of thin clouds, feeling the cool mist on his face. For a second he just hovered there, then with a grin he dove. He twisted midair, letting gravity pull him down before engaging the thrusters at just the right moment. He weaved through the buildings, dipping low enough to wave at the people, gasp and shout, and shouts of surprise followed them, but a few brave souls raised their hands waving back. He chuckled. That's more like it. He banked left, adjusting to the weight of the suit. It was new, and he was still working out the kinks, but he was getting there. Each flight felt smoother, more natural. His body and the suit becoming one. Then his senses flared from a few blocks away. He caught a movement in an alley, not the usual late night wanderers, a couple sneaking off for a quiet moment. This was different, tense, secretive. He zoomed in through his visor. A handful of men huddled near a dumpster, speaking in hushed tones. Cash exchanged hands, plastic bags followed. Dealers. Richard exhaled sharply. Alright, fun time's over. With a flick of his wrist, he disabled his thrusters, allowing himself to drop straight down like a meteor. The moment before impact, he engaged them again, landing in a controlled crouch right in the center of the group. The reaction was instant. What the? One of them nearly dropped a cigarette, another took a shaky step back, already knowing this wasn't good. The biggest one, a burly guy with a scar running down his cheek, just sneered, "Who the hell are you supposed to be?" Richard stood up, rolling his shoulders. I was gonna let you guys handle this on your own. Maybe find a nice hobby, knitting, gardening. But nope, here we are. The scarred man scoffed. Cute, now get lost before you get hurt. Richard tilted his head. Oh, see, I was about to say the same thing, but then you went and made it awkward. With lightning speed, he snatched the plastic bag from near his dealer's hands. Hey! Richard raised an eyebrow, holding the bag up like it was some cheap prize. You mind telling me what this is? Because I'm pretty sure it's not sugar packets. The dealer lunged at him. Bad move. Richard sidestepped with ease, letting the guy stumble forward. Before he could react, Richard grabbed his wrist, twisting it, and with a quick flick, flipped him onto his back. The man hit the pavement with a groan. Scarface snarled, "Get him!" Two others rushed in. Richard grinned. Oh, finally. The first one swung. Richard ducked, catching his wrist mid-motion and pulling him into his own friend. The second guy went down like a sack of bricks. Damn, you guys make this too easy. Scarface was already moving, pulling a knife from his pocket. Richard barely sided with the yank, with a slap to the hand. The knife went flying. Scarface blinked at his hand, at his now empty hand. Huh? Richard shot forward, grabbing him by the collar and slamming him against the alley wall. The glow of his suit cast eerie shadows on the thug's face. Do you even know what you're selling? Richard's voice dropped, the usual humor gone. How many families have you wrecked? Scarface swallowed hard. Before to smirk. You think knocking us around changes anything? Richard tightened his grip. No, but it stops you from trying again. The man let out a nervous laugh. Alright, we're done, okay? You made your point. Richard studied him for a moment longer before letting go. The thug stumbled, rubbing his throat. His crew, what was left of them, didn't wait around. They bolted down the alley, disappearing into the night. Richard watched them go, then glanced at the bag in his hand. He crushed it, the contents spilling into the wind. He took a breath. The height of the fight faded, leaving only the weight of what he just done, of what he keep having to do. One fight, 1,000 more to go. He shot into the air, heading straight for the police station. He landed lightly on the rooftop, placing the remaining evidence in the spot where they find it. As he turned to leave, the sound of approaching officers made him pause. What the hell? A cop picked up the evidence. It's them, that same crew we've been tracking. Another officer whistled. Somebody must really want them off the streets. Richard smirked. Hold on, be right back. What? Alright. Okay, I'm back, guys. What the hell? A cop picked up the evidence. It's them, that same crew we've been tracking. Another officer whistled. Somebody must really want them off the streets. Richard smirked. He didn't need credit, he just needed results, and he wasn't done yet. After hours of testing his suit, pushing its limits, and patrolling the city, Richard felt exhaustion creeping in. The thrill of helping people and making difference was undeniable, but something was missing, a crucial detail. As he stood atop a rooftop, gazing down at the city he had sworn to protect, it finally hit him. He had no identity. He was just a man in a suit, a nameless figure cleaning up the streets. If he wanted to strike fear into criminals, if he wanted to give people hope. He needed something more than just strength and determination. He needed a name. He reflected on his journey. He remembered a name, one he had created for himself long ago, a name that carried meaning. Being a hero won't be easy, but I'll do my best, he said with determination. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. I think I'll call myself Master Slayer. Seriously, that name? I could have picked something way better. The voice started, its tone dripping with frustration. Richard sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. You again? The voice inside his head scoffed. Oh, don't act so surprised. You know I'm always here. Richard ignored the remark, focusing on the town below. The street lights flickered, the hum of distant sirens echoing through the night. He tightened his fist. This was his town, his responsibility. Master Slayer, he repeated, testing the weight of the name. It wasn't just a title, it was a promise, a declaration. The voice groaned. Come on, you couldn't have gone with something cooler like Night Phantom or Christmas Sentinel. Ooh, how about the Shadow Titan? Look, enough. Richard snapped, irritation clear in his voice. I chose this name because it represents what I want to be, a hero who is the strongest, who saves and protects. My character reminds me of that, so that's what I'm going with. Your constant negativity doesn't help. Every time you open your mouth, you just make things harder. The voice neared its presence, curling around his thoughts like a shadow. Hero, you're clinging to an illusion. Strength isn't about saving, it's about taking. You break yourself for others when you could rise above them. A pause, then a slow, chilling whispered, you don't have to fight this way. You don't have to struggle. Just let me in and I'll give you the power you need. You don't get it, Richard said, his voice steady despite the weight pressing down on him. Power isn't just about taking, it's about choosing what to do with it, and I choose to protect no matter how hard it gets. You can whisper all you want, but it won't be like you. The voice let out a low, amused chuckle. You think saying it out loud makes it true? You're still afraid of what you could become, afraid that deep down you're not as different from me as you want to believe. It slithered through his mind like a parasite, feeding on his doubt. You fight, you struggle, but for what? Limits, restraint? Then his tone darkened, laced with hunger. I can help you, kill and consume, that's all I want. You don't have to hold back. You don't have to pretend. Just let me in and I'll give you the power you need. Richard clenched his fists, his breath steady despite the storm raging inside him. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you, he said, his voice firm. I'm afraid of losing myself. Power without control, without purpose, is nothing but destruction. I won't be a monster, no matter how much you push. His eyes burned with determination as he took a step forward. I don't need you. I'll become stronger on my own, not through fear, not through you. The voice growled, his presence pressing against his mind like a suffocating weight. You're lying to yourself. It's bad. You think strength comes from restraint, from struggling alone. A sharp, mocking laugh followed. You will break, Richard. You will fall, and then when you do, when the world crushes you under its weight, I'll be there waiting. His voice dropped to a whisper, cold and insidious, and when that moment comes, you'll beg for me. Richard exhaled sharply, his grip tightening. Then you'll be waiting forever. His voice was unwavering, steady, but despite the chaos clawing at his mind, because no matter how many times I fall, I'll get back up. Not for power, not for you, but because that's who I am. He turned his back on the voice, his resolve unshaken. I don't need you. I never will. Oh, really? The voice mumbled, its tone with coldness. Your life was thrown away the moment one of those shadows killed your grandma. You think your life matters now? Richard's face contorted with a blend of pain and unyielding determination. What did you just say? You think I'll fall for your manipulation? No, I'm done with that. If you dare speak about my family again, I'll make sure you understand the difference between true strength and the destruction the shadows left behind. But his words were abruptly cut off as the shadow surged forward, seizing control of his body. The voice hissed, dark and venomous, a twisted laugh creeping through. You really think you're better than me? You, who clings to these prophetic ideals of heroism. Power is what's real. Strength is what matters. And in the end, you'll see I'm the only one who can give you what you truly need. What the hell is wrong with you? Richard yelled, his heart pounding as he fought against the overwhelming force. His body was no longer his own. Every movement, every twitch controlled by the shadow that gripped him tightly. He tried to resist, but it was like trying to fight against an unyielding storm. His body lifted off the ground, pulled toward the city as if it were a mere puppet on a string. Let me go, damn it. What are you trying to make me do? The shadow's response was cold, dripping with contempt. You think you have a choice? You're mine now. You always were. Richard's chest tightened, panic crawling up his throat. No, I won't. But before he could finish, the shadow cut him off, his voice low and insidious. Shut up and embrace what you truly are. The grip on him tightened, and his body surged forward with terrifying speed. Richard's mind raced, his body still fighting against the pull, but it was no use. The city skyline loomed closer, and his desperation mounted. Wait, wait, wait! Richard's voice cracked his panic to a fever pitch. His chest tightened as he realized just how little control he had left. The words barely escaped him, filled by terror. You don't have to do this. Not like this, please. The shadow paused for a split second, its attention now on a man below, a criminal running from the scene of a crime, unaware of the fate closing in on him. The darkness in the air seemed to thicken as Richard's vision fixed on the man, heart pounding in his ear. Don't you dare, Richard screamed, his voice raw and frantic. He struggled against the dark that held him. He's just a man, a human. He doesn't deserve this. He has a future. Let him go. The shadow halted mid-flight, its ominous presence suffocating the air around Richard. For a moment, everything was still. Just the weight of Richard's words and the criminal's unaware existence hanging in a balance. And then with the sickening growl, the shadow's voice cut through silence, venomous and chilling. That's the problem with you, Richard. You think you're so different from them. You think you can save everyone, but it's simple. Life or death, and that man, that weak little fool, is already dead in my eyes. Before Richard could react, the shadow lashed out and the criminal collapsed. To the ground lifeless. Richard's eyes widened in horror as the people nearby turned their attention toward Richard, eyes wide in fear as they witnessed the crime. Richard looked down at his hands covered in blood. He stared at the crimson stains, his mind reeling. How could this be happening? The voice that had once resided in his mind now separated from him, forming into a dark shadow that only Richard could see. He looked at the people, their fearful expressions burning into him, then back at the blood on his hands. Why, Richard? Why? Richard whispered in disbelief, his breath shaky, his body trembling with both fury and terror. The shadow loomed behind him, silent but menacing, feeding off his confusion and rage. Just then an officer approached, his hand resting on his holster breastplate. What have we got here? A murder on the loose already? The officer asked, eyeing the scene with suspicion. Oh, listen, officer, I didn't mean to kill him. You gotta listen. It wasn't me. It was a shadow, Richard stammered, his voice cracking as he tried to explain to himself. Still horrified by the blood on his hands, the officer stepped forward, his gaze sharp and accusatory. Stop lying. And what do you mean by shadow? Are you playing a joke on me that you can run away? Don't tell me you're delusional. We saw you. No, I didn't kill him. Something controlled me. Richard pleaded desperately, his mind racing. Please, you have to understand. I couldn't stop it. That's not what I saw, the officer questions. The officer crossed his arms, his expression hardening. You're coming with me, he said firmly, clearly not believing Richard's words. Richard could feel his chest tighten as panic took over. The shadow in his mind was still there, watching him, waiting to see if he would break. The shadow no longer contained within Richard erupted from his body. A dark swirling mass hovered above him. With terrifying speed, it rushed towards the officer, seizing control of him. Richard's heart dropped as he watched the officer's expression twist into something unfamiliar. The man's body now moving against his will. What the? Richard was confused, shocked, looking at the body. The body pulled up, looking straight at him with a sinister smile. Richard's fist clenched tightly as he stood his ground, glaring at the officer, now nothing more than a vessel for the dark force controlling him. Tell me, why are you doing this? Richard demanded, his voice shaking with a mixture of anger and fear. And where the hell did you come from? The officer's mouth The officer's mouth twisted in a mocking grin, his voice dark and distorted. Oh, are you asking me? Ha, how pathetic. You still don't know, do you, Richard? The shadow's words were dripping with condensed. For years, we've been watching, learning each one of your little personalities, your emotions. I'm simply doing this because I need to consume to survive and to make my queen proud. Richard's brow furrowed in disbelief, proud of what you are now. So you're telling me there's more of you, and he tried to explain, but the shadow inside the officer's body caught him through with a cool laugh. No one shall speak. No one shall speak of her, the shadow hissed, his voice taking on an almost sinister edge. But I'll tell you this, Richard, you got a couple weeks before your demise. The shadow smirked, its laughter echoing in Richard's ears, sharp and mocking. What do you mean? Who's your queen? Richard's voice rose, desperation and anger boiling beneath the surface. Before he could react, the officer, now fully under the shadow's control, reached for his weapon in a flash. The sound of gunfire erupted, deafening and horrifying. Richard's heart skipped a beat as innocent bystanders As innocent bystanders fell to the ground, their lives knocked out in an instant. No, Richard's voice cracked with panic, his mind racing. He couldn't just stand there. Not like this, not while lives were being taken. I won't let you kill anyone. Richard shouted, his voice hoarse with panic. Fury, and the raw emotion was surging within him. I will be the one to save them, if no one else will. In that moment, Richard's mind flooded with determination, his body moving before he even knew it. He couldn't let this end like this, not when he still had a chance to stop it. He dove forward, grabbing one of the victims in a desperate attempt to save him, pulling them out of the line of fire. His hands were shaking, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He looked at the officer, now turned into a vessel of darkness, and fear clutched at his chest. Stop. I'm done trying to reason with you, man. This motherfucker. Richard shouted, his voice cracking with frustration, but the officer, now nothing more than a puppet, remained silent. The darkness surrounded him pulsed, twisting unnaturally as if it were alive. Richard lunged forward, grabbing the officer by the collar. His fist crashed into the man's face. Nothing, no recoil, no reaction. He struck again, harder this time, but it was like punching into the void. The officer only grinned, blood dripping from his split lips, his black, lifeless eyes staring straight through Richard gritted his teeth and kept swinging, each punch fueled by growing desperation, but the man barely budged. The smirk never faded, the shadow surrounding him only deepened, swallowing the air between them like a black hole. You don't get it, do you? The officer rasped, his voice layered like more than one person was speaking through him. This isn't a fight. You win with your fists. Richard clenched his teeth and tightened his grip on the officer's collar. Then I'll find another way, he growled. The officer laughed, a sick, gurgling sound as more blood dripped from his mouth. Go ahead, keep struggling, keep throwing those weak punches. It won't change the fact that you're too late. The cycle's already begun. Richard's stomach twisted at those words, a chill running down his spine. What cycle? The officer's grin widened. You'll see soon enough. Okay, sorry about that, guys. My voice was hurting a little bit, but hopefully we're almost done with part 3 of chapter 1. So yeah, let's continue reading. I think we almost got this, guys. Then, in a horrifying moment of pure terror, the shadow consumed the officer. The man's body twisted unnaturally as the darkness engulfed him completely, and within seconds he was gone, vanishing without a trace. Richard's mind was still reeling, the weight of the moment too much to fully grasp. Holy fuck, he muttered, his voice barely audible. His hands shook violently, fear creeping into his chest like a vice. He stood there frozen, unable to move, the horror of what he had witnessed pressing down on him. He glanced at the woman beside him. Look what we need to get out of here before that shadow thing comes back. Trust me, I know a safe spot. Let's go. Richard moved quickly, leading her to her place as fast as he could, following her directions. The urgency was palpable. I'm sorry what you saw. Trust me, it wasn't me who killed that criminal. It was Richard. It was Richard started, but she cut him off. Yeah, I've seen enough, she said, her voice steady but filled with concern. Something like that happened to me. It took control, but it made it out alive. She shot him a wary glance. Richard's frustration boiled over the shadow. Whatever it is, it's been killing people and I don't know what to do. I just wanted to do something good and now this happens. He paced, trying to wrap his head around it all. It's like I'm cursed. Well, she said, her tone softening slightly. I think we could use a hero right about now. Her eyes narrowed as she glanced at him. But where did you get the suit? It's confusing to say, but I made it from this crystal. Richard then shows her the crystal. Wait, you have the crystal? She was frightened. You know about it too? Yeah, hey, don't worry. The shadow is gone, and I'm a good person. I just found this crystal, and somehow I gotta stop this shadow before it causes many more deaths, and I might need help with this. In the meantime, I'm still wondering what the shadow meant by queen. Richard replied, yeah, you do that. Find whoever can help you. She replied, glancing at him, her expression curious. But what's your name? It's Richard. It's Master Slayer. He replied, awkwardness lacing his words. Master Slayer, she furrows her brow. But you look evil. Are you sure you aren't bad? No, I'm not bad. At least, I don't think I am, he said, then let out a small chuckle. Look, I get it. Dark colors, intense name. It gives off a vibe, but heroes don't have to look a certain way. It's not about the colors. It's about what I stand for. And trust me, I stand on the right side. She studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. I don't know, you sound like a hero, but looks can be deceiving. She crossed her arms. Guess I'll have to see for myself if you're really who you say you are. He smirked, crossing his arms. Fair enough. Actions speak louder than words, right? Okay, I'll stop talking now. She raised an eyebrow, a hint of a smirk forming. All right, Master Slayer, I'll be watching. Turning away, she took a few steps before glancing back. Just don't prove me right. He let out a small chuckle, shaking his head. Don't worry, I won't. As she walked off, he exhaled, feeling the weight of his name settle on him. He had something to prove, not just to her, but to himself. But he was still uncertain of what happened earlier. Richard's mind drifted back to the crystal in his hand. He closed his eyes, drawing in a slow breath, trying to focus the weight of everything that happened. The shadows he faced and the overwhelming sense of dread were pulling at him, but he couldn't afford to get lost in it. Not now. He had to focus. The crystal hummed faintly, its energy pulsing beneath his fingers. He steadied his mind, forcing himself to concentrate on his power. He had to dive deeper to see what it was trying to show him. The images shifted, dark and distorted. He saw shadowy figures, monstrous shapes emerging from the edges of his vision, their forms twisting and slithering under sky painted red. With an ominous light, his heart pounded. Yeah?
If you took them swimsuits, what towels did you use?
I don't know.
You didn't take no towels.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. His heart pounded in his chest as the images came closer, the darkness closing in around him. He wanted to pull away, but something held him. He forced him to see. What is this? Richard whispered, fear creeping into his voice. What am I seeing? The shadows seemed to laugh, their movement quick and unpredictable, and Richard's grip on the crystal tightened. If there were more shadows out there, he muttered, his voice shaking slightly but growing steadier with each word. I'll deal with them. I'll put an end to them. No more running, no more hiding. He took a deep breath, his determination beginning to cut through fear. A cold, bitter smile crept across his face. People deserve someone who can protect them, someone who can fight back against this. Whatever it is, someone who doesn't just stand by while everything burns. His hands clenched into fists around the crystal. But I'm not doing this alone, he said more forcefully this time, his voice laced with anger. I'll find a way, and I'll take them down one by one if I have to. Just as the words left his lips, something else caught his attention. Presence. His breath hitched, his spine going cold. It was like a distant, creeping force. Something vast and dark, growing stronger with every second that passed. He staggered back, trying to shake it off. No, what is that? What's out there? The sensation was almost suffocating. The weight in his chest pressed down harder, as if something or someone was coming for him. His voice came out, strained, his panic rising. I don't have time for this. I have to focus. Whatever this thing is, I can't deal with it now. But I don't know. But I know it's out there, and it's coming. He gripped the crystal again, trying to steady himself. I'll figure it out later. But for now, he took a deep breath, his words sharp and unwavering. I'm dealing with the here and now. The shadows are mine to destroy, and no matter what comes, I'll stop it. He exhaled slowly, the weight of the unknown still pulling at him, but he locked it away for the moment. The road ahead was uncertain, but Richard knew one thing for sure. He wasn't facing it alone, and whatever was coming, he'd be ready for it. Okay. I am now done with part 3 of chapter 1, and yeah, guys, my voice hurts a lot. Oh wait, hold on, I got a comment. Let's see. Yo, what's up, Ryan? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to my stream. How are you doing, man? Anyways, my voice hurts a lot from reading all that. Holy crap. But yeah, guys, I'm on part 4 or chapter 1 now. But yeah, guys, before I wrap up the stream off here, I need you guys to please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let me know if you guys want to see more content like this on my channel. But yeah, guys, part 4, chapter 1, I will do a live stream hopefully tomorrow or probably sometime on the weekend, but I'm not really too sure yet. But yeah,